everyday people that go to work and work like heck to pay their bills are not benefiting from what Tim Geithner and particularly Ben Bernanke have done to the U.S. economy.
That was a little over a month ago, Senator Jim Bunning, and he's again asking the Senate Banking Committee now to subpoena documents related to the Fed and the AIG bailout before it considers Chairman Bernanke's reconfirmation vote, and he joins us now. Good morning, Senator. It's great to see you. I figure a lot of what we hear from you will be not much different from the last time. So I was going to start, if he doesn't get reconfirmed, who would you like to see as the next Fed chairman?
Well, it's not my choice, but a guy like John Taylor would be a perfect example of someone who could walk into the Fed and run it better than Bernanke.
Would that be possible, or would it have to be, Steve, would it have to be a Yellen or a Cohn or someone like that?
It could be, but that's strictly up to the President of the United States to do the nomination.
At this point, do you know, do you have a better calculus of where the Senate stands right now? We're figuring 70-30. I mean, it's nice to talk about it, but probably he's going to be confirmed, right?
Well, it looks like it. I've never seen a Fed chairman go around and solicit votes and promise things for, I don't know if it's for their votes, but the exchange that Harry Reid had in the Nevada papers surely indicated to me that there was promises made to Reid if he supported Bernanke.
Well, Senator Reid's making, I don't think he goes anywhere without making a deal with someone, whether it's Landro or Ben Nelson or the unions, right? But so that's not a shock, is it?
Well, it's a shock to me that the Federal Reserve chairman would have to solicit votes for his support. He ought to be an independent agent, not behooving to anybody in the Congress of the United States.
But he's got some guys that are like you. You're kind of on the far side of one side of the aisle, and then you got the socialist, only socialist member of the Senate on the other side. I mean, there's some strange bedfellows here. He needs to do what he's got to do, right?
Well, he's going to do what he's going to do, whether we like it or whether we don't like it. My question is he capable of handling the Fed job for 4 more years? I don't think so, and I have a lot of reasons why.
Well, it'd be much. I mean, Senator, I can't. Hopefully, he isn't faced with what he was faced with, and pretty calmly guided us through some pretty tumultuous times there. Maybe you think he's responsible for getting us there in the first place, but when he was actually, when some strong men were their voices were cracking, I mean, he was a pretty steady hand a year ago or so, wasn't he?
You think so, huh?
Well, I think a little bit.
It looks like all the talking heads that have something to do with the market favor Ben Bernanke for chairman.
No, I don't know if everyone does necessarily, but you might be, we can, those of us that can still go to the ATM machine and have cash come out, at least think that it could have been worse.
You can get cash come out because the banks don't have to pay a darn cent for that cash they're lending you.
That is a pretty good answer.
They're not lending it to you. Senator Bunning, I'm just wondering if you could lay out for us what policy you would want the Fed chairman or a Fed chairman, assuming it's not Ben Bernanke, to follow right now at this moment. Would they withdraw stimulus, raise interest rates?
First of all, the loose money that we have had created a couple bubbles, the dot-com bubble, the housing bubble, and the loose money and the non-regulatory burden that they placed on housing and mortgage brokers. They didn't regulate them at all, and that really caused the housing bubble. And so I want someone who will do what the Federal Reserve is supposed to do. It's supposed to be an independent agency and follow the law of the land.
Okay, so you want higher interest rates right now? Is that what you're saying?
No, I didn't say that.
Okay.
I said I want them to raise before we have hyperinflation facing us in the very near future.
So do I hear you saying then you don't have problems with the policies of the Fed right now?
I do have problems
What are
with
those
the
problems? How would you change that policy right now? Would you not have purchased the mortgage-backed securities, and would you sell them right now?
I would not have opened all the windows and bailed out all the bankers and bailed out everybody that he bailed out over the last year.
Senator, once we get past Bernanke, what's going to happen with Treasury? I mean, do you think Geithner's doing a good job? Do you think he will be the Treasury Secretary at the end of the year?
I don't think he'll make it through the year.
And how will that happen? If you could give us a sense of what you see happening.
He'll get fired by the President of the United States because of his inability to handle the job as the Secretary of the Treasury and said, fiscal policy. This is what the Treasury Secretary is supposed to be involved in.
Senator, I'm curious as to your reaction to last week's announcement from President Obama about potential brakes on banks in terms of their ability to invest in hedge funds and private equity and proprietary trading. Do you agree with those efforts and those proposals?
Well, it's a little late. That's all I can tell you. That should have been done about 4 or 5 years ago. And, of course, Obama was not president. George W. Bush was president, and he didn't do it. And he should have done it.
But they're doing it now. So you support President Obama on that?
No, I do not support it.
So, hold on, it was supposed to have been done 4 years ago, wasn't done, now it's being proposed, and you don't support it.
The reason I don't is because it's being done for a political reason rather than a fiscal reason.
But who cares why you get there if you're doing the right thing?
Well, let's face it. To do it for a political reason, to pacify certain interests in the country, when this uprising in the country, the Tea Party people are screaming bloody murder about all these things that the Fed and the Treasury have done.
So, Senator, as far as AIG goes, I guess you think really someone's head has to roll for that in your view?
Well, Bernanke played a key role in AIG's bailout, and if you read what I have read, and I can't disclose it to you, but what I have read at the the Fed, I went down and read the papers, and he was instrumental in allowing AIG to be purchased by the federal government.
Right. Well, he, of course, thought at the time that was a systemic risk that would have potentially led to the downfall of the financial system.
That's your opinion?
No.
That was
I'm not saying
Bernanke's opinion.
That was his opinion.
Oh, boy, was it. Because his staff didn't agree with him.
I know that you can't disclose specifically, but I'm curious as to what documents you're talking about.
I'm talking about an email that he sent his staff after his staff recommended that the Federal Reserve not touch AIG, just like Lehman Brothers.
Right. Now, of course, Treasury was also involved there. Hank Paulson ultimately came around to saying we need to save AIG.
Well, but
there were those of us reporting it was
Geithner.
A day away from bankruptcy. They changed their opinion based on at least something they must have seen there and what they believed would happen if they didn't.
It was an email from the chairman.
And towards what end? Why do you think Bernanke was so interested in bailing out AIG?
I think if Bernanke could go replay that purchase, that would be one thing he would not do. I sincerely believe that. Every time he comes before our committee, he says that's the worst thing we did. So he doesn't agree with his own decision.
All right, Senator, next time you come on, you'll tell us what you really think. You promise to do that next time?
I promise to do that.
You will? All right, well, we appreciate your time this morning. Always enjoy having you on. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
Okay, see you later.